Africa, right here in America, all over the world, African peoples are struggling just to free themselves from the yoke of imperialism, capitalism, and a whole lot of destructive systems. Brothers out there in Palestine fighting. And we here at Tech have a role to play as students. We have to get involved in the whole struggle. Not just be concerned about intellectual achievement, but be concerned about our people and the folks at Techwood and the folks out there in Atlanta, and get involved in stuff politically, especially. We need to. In terms of anti-apartheid day, it's indeed a great thing to stand here today and be part of this whole acknowledgement that we're standing against apartheid. And I want you to feel good that you're wearing your black today and your liberation colors. And know that no matter how far we are from South Africa, no matter how many millions of miles we are away from South Africa, whatever stand you take, our brothers and sisters do feel that over there.
And they work, make the history of the black movement around the world. To speak of Ture is to bear witness to the history of the civil rights, black power, and Pan-African movements. Each of these movements have determined his ideological development, and in return they've been affected by him. Kwame Ture has been the spokesman of a whole generation of African youth who have studied, worked, and struggled, and resisted almost all of their young lives for the complete liberation and unification of African people. His name is synonymous with that of leader in the continuing struggle for the civil rights and black power in the United States, for national liberation on the continent of Africa, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. In his almost 20 years of dedication to the black movement, Ture has been a key element in the college student sit-in movement of the early 1960s, which led to the founding of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the Freedom Rise during 1961 into the South, the Selma to Montgomery March in 1966, from which the cry for black power was reverberated around the world, and the birth of the peace and the anti-draft movement, when SNCC became the first national organization to resist the draft. Ture worked with the United Farm Workers Association in its efforts to organize migrant laborers during the latest and great boycott of 1960. Under Kwame Ture's leadership, SNCC was the first organization, national organization that is, to publicly denounce the Zionist aggression during the 1967 Israeli war. He has traveled widely in the Middle East, visiting Palestinian refugees and guerrilla groups. He's traveled to Puerto Rico to work for independence there. His travels in 1967 took him to Vietnam, where he met President Ho Chi Minh, and to Cuba, where he addressed the first conference of the Organization of Latin American Solidarity. Ture then proceeded to Africa at the invitation of President Sekou Ture. He attended the annual conference of the Democratic Party of the Republic of Guinea and met with the late President Nkrumah of the Republic of Ghana. Upon returning to the U.S., Ture called for the creation of the Black United Front. He later became the Prime Minister of the Black Panthers for a short period. He has authored 2 books. With Charles Hamilton, the book Black Power, and he's the author of Stokely Speaks, From Black Power Back to Pan-Africanism. Kwame Ture is currently head of the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, which works towards the total liberation and unification of Africa under an all-African socialist government. He has taken 2 extended trips to Africa in 1978 and 1979 in the effort of furthering those goals. From Black Power to Pan-Africanism, he has lived through an odyssey of work, struggle, and new revolution for black people. With great pride, I present to you our brother in these struggles, Brother Ture Kwame.
Good morning. We thank you for your welcome. We thank you for your remarks. Unfortunately, I was not informed about your intended solidarity to wear black, so as a standing color, I was really black.
But you can rest assured that I am 100% with your solidarity. It is necessary in every way, shape, and form for us not only to have the intentions of solidarity, but moving to develop even with symbolism in our community. It is a vital necessity. I want to make some remarks to you this morning concerning history, but I want to make it clear that our intention here today, our purpose here today, is to inspire each of us to higher levels of service to our people. And these higher levels of service to our people can only be manifested in concrete daily actions on behalf of the people's noble struggle towards liberation. This is our purpose. We know that in life, every act has a purpose. We do not mean to imply here that every individual committing an act knows the purpose for the act. But it would be most illogical to assume that there is no purpose for an act. You may, for example, ask some of your colleagues here on campus, why did they come to Georgia Tech? And then they, in all honesty and all sincerity, reply to you, but you must not believe that they're here. You must at least know that this student is an unconscious student, not aware of the purposes for being here. The world needs conscious men and conscious women. And an oppressed people will never be free until they become conscious of their responsibility. When we say a conscious man, a conscious woman, it means someone who knows the purposes for all of their actions. We are revolutionaries in this corner. Not only are we conscious, not only do we come to know the reasons for all of our actions, but we come to effectuate the reasons for our actions, taking self-determination into our own hands. Of course, this purpose of inspiring each of us to higher levels of service to humanity is the purpose which is in total harmony with the purpose of life. We say some people don't even ask why they come to school, some don't even ask what the purpose of human beings are. But human beings have only one purpose, and that purpose is to advance life. Certainly all of us who are here today recognize, just speaking of the oppressed condition of Africans the world over, that we live in a higher position than those of our forebears who came before us. And the reason why we live in this better position is a result of their sacrifices and their struggles to advance us to this level. One of the greatest crimes that any human being can commit is to be ungrateful. Certainly we owe a debt to those who came before us. For example, today when we go to any place in Georgia, we don't have to go to filthy battles or filthy battles in stores in their back doors. This dehumanizing practice we will have to undergo thanks to those who came before us and struggled hard to get rid of it. We owe them a debt. Of course, we cannot repay this debt because many of them are already dead. That is to say, we cannot repay the debt to them, those who sacrificed for us. But we said many of them are already dead. But we must repay the debt. And the only way by which we can repay the debt is to ensure that we work to make life better for those who come after us. It is clear then that we are born in debt. And this responsibility we have to advance life, we must come to take seriously. The job of our enemy, capitalism, a stupid, backward, vicious system, is not only to rape our labor, to rip off our resources, to confuse our thinking, but to make us irresponsible to life. That is to say, to make us irresponsible to the people's struggle to advance humanity. Thus, when we come to say that we hope and our purpose is to raise each of us to higher levels of service to the people, we come to raise a struggle against capitalism. And this struggle is waged on every level. Africans all over the world, and certainly Africans in America, know that capitalism is a vicious system. The viciousness of this system is to be found in the fact that those who labor do not enjoy the fruits of their labor. Certainly we Africans know this better than others in America. We have labored in America for centuries. And not only do we not receive the fruits of our labor, all we receive is abuse from the capitalist system. So we say this system has to be struggled with on every level. The area which we will seek to confront it here today is in the illogical arena. Of course, this area, the illogical arena, this area of ideas, this area of thinking is necessary to confront capitalism on every level. It comes to confuse the people in America by letting them think they're thinking, when in fact they're only responding to stimuli, and in the act of responding, they think they're thinking. This is manifested everywhere. Even in the checking of the intelligence quota of the individual, no reflective thought is asked for, only regurgitating of facts. As a matter of fact, it's checked by multiple choice. And sometimes they have A, B, C, D, E, and he will say, none of the above, don't even worry about it. They say this struggle to make the people think in America is a serious struggle. In the first place, they come to divorce thinking from action. Making one thing that one thinks abstractly, one thinks. People take it to such ludicrous proportions that the more abstractly one thinks, the more purely one thinks. This finds its ludicrous heights in such statements which are passed on to the students in their philosophy classes in terms such as cogito ergo sum, as they say in Latin, I think, therefore I am. Of course, all of us sitting in this room know that this is not true, simply because everyone sitting in this room know many who are and do not think. So this process of understanding thought and thought processes is crucial in the struggle against capitalism. One cannot think unless one is involved in that which one is thinking about. I'm reminded of a few years ago here at Clark College, around the time of Martin Luther King's birthday. The auditorium was filled with enthusiasm with my young sisters. The first question I asked was, how many of you love Dr. Martin Luther King? Well, after all, it was Martin's birthday, so every hand in the house went up. Some tried to reach the sky. Keep your hands up, said I, if you have read at least 2 books by Dr. Martin Luther King. Every hand went up. Because they think they love King, and they think they know King, but they know nothing about King. All they know is what the television tells them about King, and the television will never tell them about King. You see? You say that you cannot think unless you are involved in that which you are thinking about. This is clear because thought is nothing other than the reflection of past action for the clarification of future action. It is clear that without action there can be no thought. Your students, which of you, not having taken physics, can actually think about physics? Of course, you can think about physics. But unless you've taken physics, you cannot think of the atom, you cannot think of the proton, you cannot think of the electron, and you certainly will have no comprehension of the neutron. We say you cannot think about something unless you're involved in that which you're thinking about. If you do not know how to swim, you cannot think about swimming. I understand the American capitalist system confuses you to think you're thinking, and thus by looking at television and watching basketball, you will criticize every basketball player who's playing, but unless you play basketball, you can't think of basketball. The fact that must be clear to all of us, unless you are working for your people's unity, unless you are working for your people's progress, you cannot think of your people's unity or your people's progress. This point, we said, must be properly understood, simply because the biggest enemy of an oppressed people is confusion. And those who do the less work for the people's struggle are the loudest in proclaiming a solution to the people's problems. Would that we could arrive at the position in our community worldwide where we can quickly say, when we're speaking about the people's struggle, if you've done nothing for the people, shut up. And we mean shut up in its most vulgar sense. We are revolutionaries here. It's our job to start complaining. The other day I met one of these people, a man who's probably never done anything for the people, probably never even walked the picket line. He came to tell me what the people's problem was. Brother Kwame, you know what the people's problem is? Tell me, Jack, I don't want to know. But the problem, our problem is that we have a vacuum of leadership. We have no leadership. That's our problem. Shut up. If you know nothing about these people, if you know nothing about their history, you've heard the names of their great leaders which they have given to the world in the last century. I say, if you know nothing about these people's history, you've heard the name of Frederick Douglass. You've heard the name of Sir John Truth. You've heard the name of Harriet Tubman. You've heard the name of Booker T. Washington. You've heard the name of the Honorable Marcus Garvey. You've heard the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You've heard the name of Malcolm X. You've heard the name of Martin Luther King. You've heard the name of Mandela. You've heard the name of Stokely. You've heard the name of Kruger. You've heard the name of Homer. You've heard the name of Stokely. You've heard the name of Jesse Jackson. You've heard the name of Ashton Davis. You've heard the name of Louis Farrakhan. You've heard the name of Sanford Shampoo. You've heard the name of Rosa Parks. Indeed, anyone truly organizing these people would know that their problem is not that they lack leadership. Their problem is that they have too many leaders. They say that when we come to struggle against the capitalist system, we come to struggle with it on every level. And if you're not involved in that which is going on, shut up. The capitalist system makes you think that ignorance is a basis for discussion. You know, what the capitalist system does is makes people stupid and then makes them arrogant in their stupidity. We wish to waste some struggle around history in presenting its outline. Now, history, like all things in life, can be used for positive and negative reasons. The American capitalist system presents history to the students in America with one purpose in mind: demobilize them from all understanding of history. And that's precisely what it does. When history is presented in America, it's presented as something past, with just facts and dates and the name of a great man or great woman who made history. Since after all, people are stupid, and we must always follow these great geniuses who come to give that direction. It is amazing to even find college students who are history majors and ask them something about the so-called American Revolution, and they will respond to you quite proudly. 1776, George Washington. Someone might be able to tell you that he never told a lie. Indian killer that he was. And he had to be an Indian killer, it's only logical. To get the country, he had to kill the Indians. He is, after all, the founding father of the country. We say he's just giving the facts and dates in the name of a great man. The intention is to make it appear as if history is something dead, something in the past, just the facts and dates and great men. Because since history is something that happened in the past, you are not there. Since there's some facts you know nothing about, and since you're not a great man or great woman, you do not even try to make history. History is made by every living human being on the face of the earth. It is made two ways, either consciously or unconsciously. But it is made. History is not there. It is alive. Only the recorded facts are dead. We are alive right now, and we are making history. Some of us in this room more consciously than others, but all of us more or less making history. When the people are oppressed, they must be conscious of their history. conscious of what is history. They must be conscious of who makes history. Because it is by understanding their history that they will fashion out the path for the future, free of all exploitation. But this understanding of history is crucial for the human person. Of course, the job of the enemy is not only to demobilize them, but to confuse them, to make them think that the history of the enemy and the history of the oppressed is one and the same. Indeed, the job of the master is to convince the slave that the interests of the master and the interests of the slave are one and the same. The master must convince the slave that when things go well for the slave, for the master, things will go good for the slaves. And when things go bad for the master, it's going to be hell for the slaves. Now, you know there's going to be a stupid slave who really believes that they have the same interest as the master. A slave who believes he has the same interest as the master will pick cotton at night. An intelligent slave, understanding that the interest of the master and the interest of the slave at all times, under all conditions, diametrically are opposed to each other, will try to sabotage the production, will break the hoe, will burn the cotton plantation, will kill the master, anything to the truth. This conscious understanding of history then must be clear. Of course, not only does it seek to demobilize us, this capitalist system, backward as it is, but it even gives a racist interpretation of history which stifles our very intellectual horizons. We give some examples. Even today, in this country, in elementary schools, and even on the university level, the implications certainly stand on the university level, it is firmly stated that Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. Of course, we understand the racist nature of the statement, that nobody is alive until the white man comes along and discovers it. But for us, it is not this obvious factor that really has a debilitating effect upon the minds of the students. The debilitating effect upon the minds of the students is that it stifles their intellectual horizons. I am sure that as racist as the American institution of education is, and it is, that all students in America have some vague understanding of Africa before 1492. Even it was just jungles and cannibals. They have some vague understanding of Asia before 1492. Of course, their understanding of Europe before 1492 is most precise. But their understanding of America before 1492 is totally non-existent. They know absolutely nothing about America before 1492 and do not even have the slightest motivation to want to know anything about America before 1492. Of course, this is necessary for the American capitalist system, because anyone who looks at history in America before 1492 will never be confused. They will know this land belongs to the Indians without the slightest question. Of course, the only way you can respect a people is by knowing the people. And you can't respect the people who are oppressed. You can only respect the people who are free. Now, all people who are born free do not get confused. Even a slave mother giving birth to a child in Georgia in 1823 on a plantation, that child is born free. The slave master says it's his fault, but the child is born free. The child is now oppressed by the slave master. So when you want to respect the people, you can't respect them when they were oppressed by other human beings. You must respect them when they're in a free society. You can't respect the Indians unless you know about their great civilization. And the Indians had great civilizations in this country. Even if you do not know of their great civilizations, even through, the capitalist system doesn't fly some of the time, it flies all of the time. Even when it tells the truth, it's a result of a double lie. Oh, it exists, it does, it's reality. I'm not speaking very clear. You can bring the biggest liar in the university, we'll put him up before the people. We will ask him or her, must the man, must the woman at all times, under all conditions, speak the truth to the fellow man, to the fellow woman? They must say yes, even while lying and telling the truth. Of course, so we know what we're saying here, the capitalist system lies all of the time. But if you're a revolutionary, honest, you can get the truth. So the capitalist system lies all the time, but even from the lines you will see, look at the recording of the relationships with the Indians in this country. Even the most racist historian must say to you that the Indians never told a lie. I know it's incomprehensible for you to understand society where starting from the president all the way down to the bottom, nobody tells a lie. And for you, you might even dismiss it as some utopian state. But if you look at history, it bears out facts. The United States government made 370 treaties with the Indians. The native people in this country, the original owners of this country, the indigenous people of this country didn't read or didn't write. They recorded their history orally. Of the 370 treaties, not one was violated by the Native Americans. All 370 were violated by the American government. These are facts here. For the Africans in America, it's more tragic. When we came to this country, and this country was a hunting ground for Africans, the only place we could find refuge was among the Indians. It was they who took us into their tribes. They gave us wives. They had mutual respect for us. Some of us even became chiefs of their tribes, and they shed their blood to defend our liberty. He said, the greatest crime human being can is that of being ungrateful. The Indians are still struggling, and will keep on struggling, and we have a responsibility to give them unconditional support in their struggle to regain their land. This is our responsibility. They say this understanding of history is crucial. Without a proper understanding, you can be confused, and certainly you can see it from the blatant contradictions that exist for Africans just in America. I am sure, in the fact, that Africans have shed their blood out of proportion to their numbers than any other ethnic group in this country in defending America in wars outside of America. This is a fact. It is also a fact that I am certain that more Africans are killed by terrorist groups such as the Ku Klux Klan and the police in this country than you see these blatant contradictions? Africans in this country are more patriotic and love America more than they love Mexico. And they are more abused in America by every other ethnic group in America. And the capitalist system so oppresses us that it oppresses us below the level of an animal, even the dog. You know, if you steal a dog from his house, take him to another house, beat him, oppress him, give him bad food. As soon as the door is open, that dog is gone. But you know, we can be oppressed, beaten for 400 years, and we say, hey, brother, let's go to Africa. Go where? Leave America? Is you crazy? What else is America coming to you? Even a dog, one of the dogs over, he said, I'm gone. Anywhere ain't better than here. And if you got a swim hole, you can do the water. Listen, right, the capitalist system will confuse you. The history is there. It's there. The blatant contradictions are there. This country was populated by Europeans and Africans. Every European who came to America came here voluntarily. Every European. Even the indentured servants had the choice. Stay in jail in Europe or go to America and be indentured servants. All of them. Even those fleeing religious intolerance in Europe had a choice. Stay in Europe, fight against religious intolerance, make it more tolerant of religions, or go to America and try it out there. Shoot a couple of Indians, you got a little area, and God is on your side. Yet these Europeans who left voluntarily, each of them turning their backs on the European countries, left with a concept that they expected a better life in America. However they define that concept. for themselves and future generations. No African came to Africa voluntarily. And Africans, in order to come to America, came through one of the worst holocausts that humanity has ever seen. Not only have they come through a Holocaust, but they still stay in a Holocaust. And yet, when these two groups are put before you, speaking of their ancestral homes, these Europeans who voluntarily left, looking for a better life, running away from religious intolerance, or from jails, they still feel more fondly about Europe, want to return to Europe. These Africans who were not running from anything in Africa, we had no jails in Africa. These Africans who are persecuted here, when you speak to them about Africa, they will in the most affirmative manner tell you, I ain't no African, I ain't got much to do with. And then after being made stupid by the capitalist system, arrogant in their stupidity, what has Africa got to do with me? What's that going to do for me anyway? Yes, the Bible says where ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise. You see, all these contradictions are a result of Africans not having their history in their all people were born free. And the people who are oppressed, looking for their freedom, can only get inspiration from their freedom. Not from where they were enslaved. This capitalist system was so confused Africans in America, looking for inspiration for their fight for freedom, they will not look to Africa, but they will look to a slave ship. Some get so confused that they think they came here under their thumb. Of course, we said it's the job of the enemy to confuse us and let us think that our history is one and the same, but it's not. And the differences of our history must be appreciated as an aspect of the diversity of humanity. Humanity doesn't come in all conformity, shapes, and sizes. On the contrary, it is quite diversified. And the particular history of Europe, the particular culture of history, must not allow to be the universal history or culture of the world. This is a disservice to everyone and everyone. So, any African serious, not those who talk, but those who are serious about working for their people's freedom, to get inspiration from their people's freedom, must look to Africa. It was only in Africa where we live. As you probably understood, if you are not looking to Africa, the capitalist system has already confused you, and it will never find the path. Because if your origins are in slavery, the best you can hope to be is a second-class slave, I imagine. The attempt by the capitalist system to keep us oppressed is serious. But the only way we can be free is by becoming more serious. More serious than the enemy, we mean. And the enemy is serious about oppression, deadly serious. Consequently, we must be more serious than our oppressor, just an even more deadly soul. Not only does the enemy stop us from looking to Africa, but even begins to make us ashamed of Africa. The tragedy, said Malcolm X, of the American capitalist system is that it will teach the people to hate themselves for no reason at all. Any man, any woman who has contempt for Africa is a man or woman who is totally ignorant of all aspects of world history. We did not say African history, we said world history. Because any man, any woman, knowing anything about world history must appreciate Africa because she has given so many contributions to every aspect of world history. We know there's no such thing as an inferior man or a superior man. Anyone speaking this is speaking bourgeois knowledge. What capitalism does to confuse us is it has us to concentrate on the form rather than the essence. ever said is not the essence but the form. This reaches such ludicrous heights in America that they can actually take a bunch of women, make them walk across the stage in a bikini, and just look at them and say, this one will represent America. So we must understand it is the essence of life, not the form. This is a constant struggle against capitalism. Constant. There's no such thing as a superior society or an inferior society. All societies are equal. They all produce the same life-sustaining institutions. Only the form is different. Every society produces dance. Every society produces music. Every society produces a way of training the young. Every society produces a way of recording history. Every society produces culture. Every society produces a way of defending itself, of perpetuating itself. Every society produces religion. We say all societies are equal. They all produce the same life-sustaining institutions. Only the forms are different. All societies produce religion. Every society. And no society does not produce religions. So even those of us who are atheists must come to appreciate religions, because they represent the aspirations of the masses of the people. Of course. Religions have but one fundamental purpose. That's why they're all equal in essence. The fundamental purpose of religion is to impose moral obligation upon man and woman. The fundamental purpose of religion is to impose moral obligation upon man and woman. Of course, those of us who say, well, not atheists must be happy that there are religions. Could you imagine what George Bush would be like if he wasn't religious? All religions are equal. When European imperialism invaded this continent, the Indians had a religion. Their religion was different in form from that of Christianity. Because of the form, European imperialism will convince many that their religion is inferior to that of Christianity and thus justify all of the ruthless crushing they did of the religion. All religions are equal in essence, they are the same, only the form is different. Some have one for God, some have many for God, some have the fish for God, some, like the American Indians, understand that Mother Earth must be treated with the great respect as a God. We would like to give some of Africa's contributions to worldly religions. We're not speaking of Africa's contributions to African religions, but to worldly religions. Our attempt here is clear. We do not think that by filling you for a few minutes with some facts about Africa, that one should swell and get pride over being African. No. One can only be proud of being African when one has knowledge of Africa. And the more knowledge you have of Africa, the more pride you have in Africa. And the more pride you have in Africa, the more you want to know about Africa. And the more you know about Africa, the more pride you have in Africa. So it's a complete circle. Itself feeding upon itself and needing no force from the outside. If you truly love anyone, you want to know everything there is to know about them. If you just have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, now you want to know everything about them, you don't know who you're going with before I can speak. Serious business. Serious business. If you love people, you want to know everything there is to know about people. So again, we're talking about serious work, not talking about if Africa think is free to be the freest people in the world. That's to be free, you got to work daily acts of concrete actions for the people's cause. We said religions are to be found everywhere, and we want to give some of Africa's contributions here. If you will go to your library, you will find a book. Well, let me tell you one thing, we Africans, we have to look at ourselves seriously. We are the best dancers in the country, and we dance more than anybody else. We are the worst readers in the country, and we read less than anybody else. When you are concerned about aiding the people, you must come to strengthen their weaknesses. When you are concerned in aiding the people, you must come to strengthen their weaknesses. Thus, our people must come to read more. We must read more. And we was finding reading time from our dancing time. I mean, we can cut down on dancing time and put some reading time. It'll work out better because we can dance. We come out dancing. What do we come out reading? We come out dancing, so we have to read. If you go to your library, there's a book here entitled The Egyptian Book of the Dead. It is an indirect title. I'm not an Egyptologist, not me, far from it. But I know that this is the indirect title of the book. The book was found by some archaeologists and was found by a tomb, and they had no understanding, so they titled it The Egyptian Book of the Dead. The book is in your library. The American Catholic system, it's such a great system. It doesn't have about people. It actually is a democratic system. It will stack books and books in the libraries. They'll have every book of Karl Marx, every book of Lenin, all the books. But they'll say, oh, we don't have to read someone, you go read them. It's really democratic. I show you Africa once when I lived in Guinea. And in where it is, when I lived in Guinea, there was a white youth from America who came there. And he was working for the United Nations, and he used to come to my house. We'd have dinner and discuss. And he was pro-American, and he always used to try and get me, I supply with music. And once at the dinner table there with some people, he said, Guinea, the dictator government. I said, really? He said, yes. He said, Guinea, you tell the people not to go to the American embassy. I said, that's true. He said, you see that? Nobody goes to the American embassy. That's correct. We tell them, don't go. Because if they go, we might have to kill them because they get messed up somehow or another, and they don't know nothing about. And there's no reason to go. He sat back and agreed with the table, and he was trying to impress the Africans without, undemocratic agreement. So I said, tell them now, how many Americans go to the Russian embassy in Washington? And here I have even told not to go. Confused. You must not get confused at all. They don't even have to tell them not to go back. They'll say, shut up. You go back over there. They can't follow you. Anyway, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the correct title is probably something like the Egyptian Book of Coming Forth. This is the first sacred book in the world. It was written over 7,000 years ago. It was given to the world by Africa. Monotheism, belief in one God, was given to the world by Africa. And when Africa was practicing monotheism, all the areas of the world surrounding Africa were not speaking monotheism, nor practicing it. Chronologically speaking, the first universal religion that teaches one God is that of Judaism. Africa gave Judaism to the world. Of course, Jews on the hand. Of course, we know that racist contempt for Africa everywhere. And there are systems who actually racist, which seek every way to cover up Africa's contributions. One of these systems is Zionism. It's a student system. It is illegal. It is racist. It is immoral. It is unjust. It is cruel. This system tries to create confusion everywhere. They try to make it appear as if this political philosophy is a religion, Judaism, and Judaism and Zionism is one and the same. The Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn say a Jew can never be a Zionist, and a Zionist can never be a Jew. We say Africa gave Judaism to the world, and this is not very clear. We are sure you've heard of the name of a man called Sigmund Freud. We are sure you've heard a lot of things about him. We even know some of the names of his books. But we will bet you that very few of you have heard of the book written by Sigmund Freud, his last book, entitled Moses and Monotheism. It's in the library. Moses and Monotheism. This book is important, just even in the context in which it was written. Freud began writing the book in 1939. The Nazis were advancing, they were crucifying Jews, and Freud is a Jew. But Freud risked his life, delaying his departure to collect his notes before running to London to finish the book before he died. That's how important Sigmund Freud felt his performance. If you will take just a cursory glance at the book of Moses and Monotheism, you will see that Sigmund Freud, using archaeological, historical, and psychoanalysis proofs, come to show us that Moses was nothing other than an African. Freud demonstrates that the early priests of the religion had to be African since they recorded the religion, and Africa was writing at that time and the only area in that corner of the world that was writing at that time. Zionism, he said, is illegal, it wants to confuse you, and it wants to make it appear as if we Africans are not even Jews. They come and say Jewish people. There's no such thing as Jewish people. There are people who are Jews. Just like there are people who are Catholics. Just like there are people who are Protestants. There's no such thing as Protestant people, as are Catholic people. Judaism is a religion. And the first Jews in the world were Africans. And when we became Jews, we didn't stop becoming African people and become Jewish people. We were Africans who were Jews. You must not let us confuse you. We will make it appear as if Judaism is about some state. We gave Judaism to the world. And when we gave Judaism to the world, we already had a state. We weren't looking for no state. You must not be confused. I recommend some more reading to you. A man by the name of Theodor Herzl. Herzl. This Herzl is the founder of political Zionism. The first conference of political Zionism was held in 1897 in a place called Basel, Switzerland. And the reason why it was held there is because the Orthodox Jews throughout Europe were opposed to the movement. I refer you to two books by Mr. Herzl. One is called The Jewish State, which you can just read, and the one that I want to point out here is some portions from his diary. But now let me tell you, everything affects everything in the world. And Zionism profoundly affects the world and everyone living inside America. Africans have done more for America in building it than any other ethnic group in the world. And Africa receives less foreign aid than the state of Israel, and Zionism has done nothing for it. Zionism controls all of our politically elected officials. Before they go and elect them, they have to fall down on their faces before the altar of Israel, screaming unconditional surrender. Leave him alone, leave him alone, leave him alone, leave him alone. Hey, Zed, leave him alone. Zed, leave him alone. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you fighting each other. Go outside. Go outside with it. Zed, take him outside if he's a friend of yours. Take him outside if he's a friend of yours. Leave him. You know that one person disrupted him? There are one people disrupted him. That doesn't make sense. Zionism, we said, is an illegal system. Mr. Herzl was reading tonight. In his diary, Mr. Herzl informs us that he's an atheist. You know what an atheist is? An atheist is not someone who does not believe in God, but an atheist makes the affirmative statement that God does not exist. Now, you must understand this. We say all of our political leaders must bow down before the altars of Zionism, screaming unconditional support for Israel. As a matter of fact, they can't even get elected unless they wear a yarmulke cap the day before their elections. Everywhere our money goes to Israel, and this money in tax dollars which we give to America, because they exploit us more than others, goes to Israel. They buy guns, they send these guns to Azania, South Africa, they invade Egypt, they invade Uganda, they invade Tunisia, they bomb us with our very money in Africa. We have to be opposed to the system in every aspect. Even if we're not affected by it. Dr. King's axiom is pledged to those of us who know King. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Mr. Herzl is an atheist. Now dig this. The reason that the rationale for the state of Israel is that God gave them the land. Now here's this man Herzl, who says God does not exist, setting out to find a land which God promised to his people. If this man is not speaking to God, the Pope must be a socialist. The Zionism is a medieval system and must be struggled against and must be opposed land belongs to the Palestinian people. And no matter how many arms they bring upon the Palestinian people are going to get their land back. Thus, all conscious elements must say unconditional support to the Palestine Liberation Organization. The religion of Christianity, Africa's contribution to it is overwhelming. I want to pause. Saying Christians. I mean, you can't really say, ooh, you know, we are more enthusiastic about religion than we are about any other aspect of our life. If I could, on any given Sunday morning, collect the energy given off at our churches, collect it and direct it against the enemy, we would have been free since yesterday. The established system makes you lazy in every aspect. And intellectually lazy is what it really strives at. Because you have to control your thinking. Do you know that as enthusiastic as we are about religion, Christianity in this country, all over the world, I'm willing to bet you that 97% of the students of Christians, not students, any Christian, who can read or write, has never read the Bible from cover to cover. And what is more, before they die and go home and see their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, they ain't got the slightest intentions of reading it from cover to cover. We say the capitalist system makes you stupid and then makes you arrogant in your stupidity. I encountered such a man the other day. He said to me he was a Christian when I said something he was contradicting. Can you read? Asked I. I'm the best reader in my family, replied he. Why, I was reading on 7th grade and I was in 5th grade. Good, said I. Have you read the Bible from cover to cover? I inquired. So said he. He got upset. I'm a revolutionary. Truth never quivers before lies. On the contrary, truth crushes lies without pity and without mercy. I laughed louder. He really got upset. Let me tell you something, Kwame Ture. You don't have to read the Bible to be a Christian. I applaud it. You're absolutely correct. You do not have to read the Bible to be a Christian. But if you are a Christian and you can read and you don't read the Bible, you're a stupid Christian. The Chinese say if you make a mistake and you know it's a mistake and you don't correct the mistake, you've made your second mistake. If you are a Christian and you have never read the Bible from cover to cover, you better correct your mistake. Because you are the only one who will suffer for it. Only you, no one else will. If these Christians in America, who are Africans, were truly Christians, they would be proud to be Africans. Africans' contributions to Christianity is so overwhelming that any African who is a Christian would have to be proud to be African. When Jesus Christ was in trouble, and the whole world was trying to persecute him, it was the African he went, and it was Africa that gave him refuge, it was Africa that protected him, it was Africa where he spent the early training of his life, where he grew physically, spiritually, and intellectually. The first country in the Bible, in Genesis 2, verse 13, is Ethiopia. Depending upon your version of the Bible, this Ethiopia can be spelled Cush, C-U-S-H, or Cush, K-U-S-H. Any empirical source will show you Cush, either with a C or a K, is the ancient name for Ethiopia. These that are clear facts. If you read the Old Testament, you have to find information. The first church in the world came out of Africa. The first monastery in the world came out of Africa. The very intellectual development of the church came out of Alexandria, which is in Egypt, which still is in Africa. We say we are confused. How these Africans who call themselves Christians are not proud to be Africans. The only assumption here is clear. They know nothing about the history of their religion. As a matter of fact, the job of capitalism is to direct our education towards philology. I am sure there are brothers and sisters here who are members of fraternities and sororities, and at the same time Christians. I am willing to bet you that they know more about the history of their sorority and their fraternity than they do of Christianity. I am sure that brothers and sisters here, not belonging to fraternities or sororities, who are Christians, and I'm willing to bet you they know more about the lives of movie stars on Dallas and Dynasty than they do about the life of Jesus Christ. Travel throughout the world, and I'm amazed every time I enter an African church, whether it be in Africa, the Caribbean, South, Central, or North America. As soon as I enter, I am sure I will see a picture of a white Jesus with blonde hair and blue eyes. When I see this, I pity these Christians. They are really confused. They really know nothing about their history. Anyone knowing anything about the life of Jesus Christ, anyone knowing anything of the history of Christianity, knows that Jesus Christ never saw Europe. He never put his foot in it. While our discussion here is not to quibble about the color of Jesus Christ, the statement we make is the correct statement. Jesus Christ could be just about any color, but the one color he definitely could not be is the color of his skin. As a matter of fact, the slightest research will show you that this white Jesus is nothing other than the uncle of the artist who made the picture. For those of you Christians who don't know, his name is Michael Angelo, and you should check out the history of Christianity. It took 400 years for Christianity to enter Europe after the death of Jesus Christ. This has a debilitating effect upon us. Some of us even carry this white Jesus in our keychains. Do you know what it's like bowing down before white Jesus? This is a struggle. We say, when we fight against capitalism, this is a vicious system. It has to be struggled against in every aspect of your life because it seeks to dominate and confuse every aspect of your life. These things are already in the church. As those Christians who are serious have a serious struggle getting away from this white Jesus. If you read the Bible, you notice not even mentioned in the Old Testament, only in the New Testament at the end, the very end, by Revelations. These are historical facts. Africa's contributions to Islam was outstanding. But Prophet Muhammad, preaching in just principles in Mecca, not having an army, was forced to retreat and being attacked by the feudal lords. His disciples went to Ethiopia. There they were granted refuge, even though the Ethiopians had all relationships with the feudal lords. These Ethiopians took care of the disciples, and when the prophet was called to Medina, they took the disciples to rejoin the prophet. But once having rejoined him in Medina, they were able to form a solid base and rapidly spread Islam throughout the world. We have, just in passing, given you some examples of Africa's great contributions to world civilization in the arena of religion. We have given you these examples in areas of which we are sure you know about, touch your life. Somehow you've never made the connection. It's because of the oppressive capitalist system. That's why it has to be fought in every level. It is clear to us that any man, any woman, African or non-African, knowing of all these great contributions to Africa, giving the first sacred book to the world, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, giving monotheism, belief in one God to the world, giving religion, Judaism to the world, stabilizing Christianity for the world, saving Islam and entire power of the world. Any man, any woman, one of these facts must be appreciative of Africa, and all Africans must be proud to be Africans. Thus, it is clear to us that those of us who claim that we're not Africans are ashamed of Africa. The only reason we do this is because we are ignorant of Africa. That's when you find an African who's ashamed of Africa, don't yell at them. No, it's the enemy. Fight the enemy. Stimulate them by whatever means so that they will want to know something about Africa. Once they look to Africa and start knowing something about Africa, they will be so proud to be African that they will not even try to disguise themselves by frying their hair. They want everybody on seeing them to go, we are Africa. The capitalist system will confuse you in every area of your life. I was speaking to one of his sisters the other day. She said, I don't care what you say about Kwame, but hair was natural. I'm going to get me my perm. I said, listen, don't let them confuse you. That's not a perm. That's a temp. This is a perm. Of course, we know there's a purpose for everything. We know there's a reason for everything. And we know there's a reason why you fight. Oh, maybe you too want to represent this America. Well, after all, it's forward. I organized for the All African People's Revolutionary Party. Ours is a revolutionary party. We're not trying to integrate the capitalist system. We're out to destroy it and brutally destroy it. We are not afraid of anything. The only thing we are afraid of is being irresponsible to a woman. We fear no man. We fear no woman. We figure that our life is no more important than that of Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. And if they can take a bullet through the nipple, we too can drag it. As a matter of fact, Dr. King was always fond of saying, if a woman has nothing for which they're willing to die, they have nothing for which they're willing to live. So in our party, we understand the lessons of life. Matter of fact, we are proud to die for the people at any time. Brother asked me the other day, ain't you scared? Listen, Jack, all the time work for my people, eternal rest is nothing to run from. Because the lucky ones like King who died, the rest of them carry this load. And when you can honestly put it down, you got it. Nothing to run from. Yeah. Wow, eternal rest. You have to get up tomorrow morning. Wow. Well, we are responsible as revolutionaries. We might flee into the arms of eternal rest. That's what we're responsible to our people. At least until death finds us, we're going to struggle for them with all our energy and all our force. We are not afraid of anything. We're not afraid of the FBI. Matter of fact, these stupid kids, that's what they are. If they had the slightest integrity, they would resign because of their incompetence. I'll tell you the fact. Have you ever heard of the name Patricia Hertz? Well, Patricia Hertz was a white woman who was born into the Irish aristocracy of this country, not the working class. And for whatever reason, one day, she joined this group called the Sudanese Liberation Army. And their job was to commit violent acts against the state. They used to rob banks and shoot guards, just carry out all sorts of violent acts against the state. And the FBI knew about Patricia Hertz. They had a picture everywhere. And every week they would say, go get her. And every day, we're getting closer. We're on our tracks now. We're closing in. And they kept saying this for about 2 years. And you know when they got her? When she gave herself up. Now you're going to take care of her. What are they going to do with us? They just told you they tried to live with you. They're stupid. Have you ever heard of the name Asante Shakur? How many of you have heard of the name of the black man? Raise your hand if you're a black man. How many hands ever heard of Asante Shakur? Okay, let me tell you something. If you've not heard of Asante Shakur, you don't know anything about the black man. The name is A-S-S-A-T-A, Asante. Last name Shakur, S-H-A-K-U-R. She has a book, it's called Her Autobiography. And she is alive today. Now, I tell you that, if you don't know your history, you become confused. The movement of the 60s, like all movements, split. One side going to the right, becoming more reactionary, another side going to the left, becoming more revolutionary. But when they show you members of the Black Panther Party today, they show you the ones who went to the right. They show you the ones who were reactionary. So that you get the impression that you know if you fight through the Black Panther Party, you don't get killed and you don't get tired and stuff. So they don't show you the ones who continue. And that's still continuing. For example, they speak of the Black Panther Party and they never mention the name of Geronimo Pratt. Geronimo Pratt is a political prisoner in this country incarcerated for 20 years in California because he was a black Panther Party candidate. And now he's sitting there, he's more revolutionary today than he was when he was arrested. And those things have been torturing him for 20 long years. The revolutionary wing of the Black Panther Party became the Black Liberation Army. The Black Liberation Army is still alive today, and they, brothers and sisters, they shoot racist cops in the head, through the eyes. They put handgrenades on the police cars, they're gone. The leader of the Black Liberation Army is a sister by the name of Assata Shampoo. Now, the Black Liberation Army of Jamaica, they rip off banks and give them money to revolutionary groups to continue revolutionary activity. They still exist. The FBI had the name of Assata Shampoo on the 10 most wanted lists in years. And while they were looking for her, she was giving orders to the Black Liberation Army and even blows against the police. I mean, serious blows. And you know, all about it, she tells you about it. She used to get at 5 o'clock in the morning, get up to subway in New York, dress up like a maid. She'd get the gun in her, pocket. She'd rough sister. She'd go up and have a touchdown. Harry Tubman carried a gun. That's not how he uses it. The FBI had on the 10 most wanted list, and they were looking everywhere for her. In her book, it's a mistake, and she says it's a mistake in the book. She made another travel to New Jersey Turnpike. The police arrested him for some reason. There was a shootout. When it was over, a policeman was killed, her husband was killed, she was wounded, and the third member of the Black Liberation Army got away. But even the FBI, these pigs were happy. I mean, they went off. We got him! We're going to crush the Black Liberation Army! We got the leader of the Black Liberation Army! We got the soul of the Black Liberation Army! Oh, they were, just let me tell you something. Tax side. Some people are confused. They got that our women now play a strong role in the movement in the 60s, 50s, we Africans, we oppress our women just like everybody else. But the one place we cannot oppress our women is on the front lines fighting for us. Anywhere through our history, you find women on the front lines everywhere. We say you must not let the particular history or the particular culture of history become the universal history or universal culture of the world. Africa gave the first queens to the world. And these were serious queens. Henry Clark has little pamphlets. And this pamphlet, he points out, through his research, he's done this research, that whenever a queen was on the throne of Africa, he documents it, Africa advanced politically, economically, socially, technologically, everywhere. He shows that whenever a queen was on the throne and the enemy invaded, there was no compromise at all. But the brother was on the throne, and the American capital system, there's more confusion. Some years ago, they said they had a film here called Cleopatra, and they had a white woman, Elizabeth Taylor. Now, I know you don't know much about African ancient history, but I know you know a lot about Greek classical history. And if you look back at Greek classical history, women played no role at all. They were oppressed. Severely oppressed. But logically, it makes no sense at all for a woman who's been oppressed, not knowing how to use to lead Greece and come and rule us and be our great queen. But they don't stop to know any of these people. They don't know anything to confuse you. They don't do anything to confuse you. That's why we have to fight them all the time. When you go to look and watch the stupid movie, they come and jump in for you. Get lying to you. You gotta fight them. We have arguments. We said this is our fiction. Assata Shampoo is a rough sister. When the FBI got her, they were happy. They had all the security around the door. They tortured her. Even those pigs tortured her. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, they were happy. They put some curtain around the jail. They said that she was there. They convicted her for about 50 lifetimes. You understand? The Black Liberation Army broke into the jail, broke Assata Shampoo out of the jail, took her to Cuba, where she now is, and the FBI, to this day, cannot tell us how she got out of the jail. These are facts. These are the news. But if you don't know history, you'll be looking at everybody else and thinking they are your heroes and not knowing your genuine heroes. We say this struggle against history is crucial. The way it presents it, that history is not made by the mass of the people, but by the people must be better understood. Because these young people only represent the mass of the people. Aside Shakur without the Black Liberation Army is finished. Martin Luther King without the masses is finished. George Washington without his army is not bad at all. But it's not one man and one woman makes history with the people. Aside Shakur is narcissistic because she represents them. When they come to write our history, they're confused because the vision of our history was made by everybody else except us. Even a great white man makes it worse. Even today, they say Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. And if you just look at the facts they present, you see the confusion they try here. Their job is to demobilize the people. Not only demobilize the people, but steal the victories from the people. That's what they do now. They will steal victories. Abraham Lincoln freed the slave. We ain't did nothing. We ain't did nothing. We sat waiting for good white men to come along after all these centuries. And we finally said, okay, our trouble is over. Good old age is here. The war started in 1861. Look at the material facts. Abraham Lincoln didn't issue the Emancipation Proclamation until 1863. Why? Because the South was winning. Not only the abolitionists tried to free the slaves, it's all generals who didn't care about slavery one way or the other, but wanted to win the war for the back to free the slaves. It was clear to anybody, even the fools could see it. The slaves were not involved in combatant positions, but they did every non-combatant duty. They dug ditches. They cooked the food. They washed the uniform. They took care of the sick. They even cleaned guns. All the white South had to do was fight. And fight they did. It was losing war. Now look at the material conditions how he freed the slaves. He issued the Emancipation Proclamation January 1st, 1863. Stokely Carmichael is a slave on Mr. Carmichael's plantation in Atlanta in 1863. Abraham Lincoln sends Mr. Carmichael the Emancipation Proclamation. Mr. Carmichael, he too being a good white man, he calls us all together and he reads it. What's this mean? Y'all is free. Means free. What's that? Does he go anywhere? Y'all is free to go wherever you want to go. Y'all is go. Free at last. Great God Almighty. Now Stokely, he hates sins of injustice. He's been trying to kill his master. He been talking about it. He just didn't make it. But now he's free. He gonna run away. He gonna leave this plantation. But take this. If Stokely leaves the plantation, when lunchtime comes, he gotta buy lunch. If he takes his family with him in the evening to shelter them and to feed them, till he finds something to sustain them, he got to give up some money. But you know, Abraham Lincoln was a good white man. He was a slave master. He was also a good white man. So Mr. Carmichael, he saw the problem with Stokely. He said, look at Stokely, don't worry about it. Go on down to the store on the plantation there. Credit what you need from your family and for you. At the end of the plantation season, I will take what you owe me. I will give you what belongs to you, and you are free to go where you want to go. And you know that when I worked as a young man in the student nonviolent community in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, I found families on plantations who were there since slavery, and they were still in debt to the white man. Abraham Lincoln was a great white man. We worked for centuries for the slave master free. And the first day he got free, he put us in the very same slave master. Abraham Lincoln taught the International Monetary Fund some good lessons. You know what the International Monetary tells us? They tell us, International Monetary Fund. That's what they are, the International Monetary Fund. The International The International Monetary Fund, they tell us after 600 years of exploiting Africa that we owe them money. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves in 1863, but he would not let the slaves pick up the guns and fight. Frederick Douglass wore out his feet going to tell Abraham Lincoln to let the slaves fight. Abraham Lincoln didn't sign the proclamation to let the slaves pick up the guns until 1864. Why? Because the South was winning. And when the slaves picked up a gun, in less than 1 year, the war was over. You mean I can kill Mr. Carmichael? Give me the gun. I can even more than this about my mother. Give me the gun. It was the slaves who went after the slave masters. The northern whites did not. It's the slaves who won the war. But nowhere in history are we given any credit for it at all. This system snatches victories from us, and it continues. Even today, when I look at the press, when I pick up the newspaper, I hear about the clerk did this. That racist thing has done nothing. It's the blood of the masses of my people that fought me in this war. He said, everywhere you respect it. There are people looking at this racist pig, the clerk. Me, I'm looking at the masses of my people. They are the only leaders of history and the only motivating force for change in South Africa. Not the racist settler Kwame, that's clear. There was confusion. Such a shampoo that the FBI can't even find out how she got out of jail. People are afraid of the FBI. Okay, that's stupid. Do you know how many married? Have you ever followed the recent things? Do you know the FBI officials themselves? Do you know they spent $43 million and 10 years following Marion Barry to get him on film for taking 2 whiffs of cocaine? $43 million. Have you ever? And that's what they admit. So you know the pig spent more. Of course. Look at it. Well, you know, Barry's trouble was that he thought the FBI was no longer after him. Me, I know they're after me because I want them. I want to destroy them. You understand? So I know they're after me. I know they're after me anyway. That's why I'm listening to them. I'm not stupid. Some of you may think they're not after you. You might think, oh, this is after him, but he's crazy, he's the one saying it. But you believe what I'm saying, so they know you believe it. Go ahead. As a matter of fact, I'm only threat to them because of you. So when they follow me because of you. So don't think they're following you. The police in all their cars now have boomerang mics. So anytime they put the lights on to pull you over, they switch on the mic, they can hear exactly what you're saying in the car. They got it. They won't tell you about it, but they got it. Oh, yeah. You think it's only me? I know them. I know they have to be 24 hours a day. They will never get me for smoking crack. All they get me is plotting their destruction. The All African People's Revolutionary Party, a party which has been working for the people, demonstrating their love for the people, says there's only one solution to our problem: Pan-Africanism. The total liberation and unification of Africa under scientific socialism. We are socialists. And we don't have carry some confusion. You know, we do the CIA now all the time. Whether anyone in China or president, no matter what occupation, what position they occupy, they lie. George Bush is a liar. The other guy saw a lie to the people of America. He said, communism is crumbling. Now, George Bush, he works for the CIA. He knows there's no communist country in the world. He knows that. The country to which America directs a hatred, the country they call Russia, the very title of that country is the USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. The people of Soviet even today tell us they want to be communist. So we can be sure when they become communist, they shall be the first to change their name from the USSR to the USCR, the Union of Soviet Communist Republics. Until this is over, there's no communist country in the world. There's a great man in the southern hemisphere, this fighter for freedom, this man who stands up everywhere for the oppressed of the world, this man, Fidel Castro, he believes socialism, not communism. And what America calls North Korea, the People's Democratic Republic of Korea, Kim Il-sung, they claim socialism, not communism. Even the Vietnamese socialism. there's no country in the world claiming communism. It's only America who names them communists. And I'm sure they know a little bit more than communism than the people in America do. George Bush knows communism, but he knows the people in America are ignorant. And he knows that he can manipulate them with ignorance. So he tells them, communism is crumbling. That's right, it's crumbling. What is it? It's crumbling. There are only two economic systems in the world, capitalism and socialism, leading to communism. There are only two economic systems in the world, capitalism or socialism, and there can only be two. Because every economic system must answer one fundamental question. Who will own and control the wealth of the country? Who will own and control the means of production? The question can only be answered two ways. Either a few will own or everybody will own. It's as simple as that. Don't get confused anywhere. A socialist system is the only just system. You say the capitalist system will wreak havoc on the people in America because they know they're ignorant. They treat them like Pavlov treating dogs. They say communism, just like the dog. It's like, go get him, Chuck. Where we go this time? No, where we go? The American capitalist system is wreaking havoc on the people. They've been seeing everywhere that, the people are today, that socialism is coming. Listen, you don't judge any system by its adherents. You judge it by its principles. Who in this room judges Christianity by Christians? If Christianity was judged by Christians, you would have to agree with me that it crumbled since Judas. And if Judas didn't bring it down, Peter helped when he died. And if Peter ain't helped, I know all the popes, a whole lot of them already down there. But we don't judge Christianity by Christians. We judge it by its principles. And irrespective of all the betrayal of Christianity by Christians, if the principles of Christianity remain intact, it must be a confused person who thinks that because socialists betray socialism, that the principles of socialism are not intact. That's socialist. And the principles of socialism remain certainly intact, and certainly is not American capitalism. That's going to tell us that socialism is wrong. They're the enemy. And we know that. And we know they lie all the time. So we're not confused any time like that. We're socialists. The world is going socialist. Our purpose, we said, was to raise you to higher levels of service to your people. Thus, my task to come here to ask you to join our organization, your African People's Revolutionary Party. But I tell you, ours is a revolutionary party. We're serious. When you come to join our party, we ask you, can you spend 30 minutes a day for the people? If not, move on. But of course, you know, if you love the people, everybody doesn't love their people. If you love the people, you must work with the people. If a man says he loves his family and doesn't work for his family, the welfare of his family, the truth is not in him. But if you love the people, you must work for your people. So we say, if you come in 30 minutes. And you know, when you come to join our party, for the first 6 months, all you do is read nothing else. We say our people have this weakness and these strengths. And you must read 5 pages a night. That's all we require. That's why we say at least 30 minutes, because the slowest reader can read a page in 6 minutes. So if you're even faster, you don't have 30 minutes. You can even slide by real quickly. But you must read. And we want to institutionalize reading and make it systematic for the individual. So even if you leave our party after a while, we hope that this stays with you, the need to constantly read the people, because the world is changing all the time. And if you say you're concerned about the liberty of your people, you must know how the forces change, so you will know what your people's positions are, whether they're weaker because of the change or stronger, because how they will relate to the change. Consequently, you must read all the time. So that's all we do. Now, we love our people in our party, and we understand that the only solution to our people's problems is Americanism. But we know our people's biggest weakness is disorganization. We are not organized. That is our biggest weakness. Oh, they would tell us every other reason why we do. This is the only reason. And the only reason they never tell us. And yet people give us all the solutions to our problem, and None of them will tell her, well, y'all need to get a little better organized. That might contain the problems, everything other than this. And this is the only problem. This is the only problem. We must become organized. We have to become properly and thoroughly organized. The reason we have all the problems we do in our community is because we're disorganized. We don't know what comes into our community, how it comes out, who brings it, what it stays here, what the purpose is, and why it goes out. We must become an organized community. When we come to work for people, those you see always crying about, oh, there's insecurity in the community, there's so much crime, there's so much drugs, this, and that. They're doing nothing. Because those who are doing something, there's so much to do, there's no time to complain. And those who complain should shut up because they have the enemy. The enemy is trying everywhere to make it appear as if the conditions in our community are so insecure, unsolvable, impossible, that they're even solved because we need more police. The stupidity, the idea says, well, we want more police in our community. You ought to shoot this one. We don't need more police in our community. We need those Africans who are conscious to organize their community. That's all we need. That's when it's come to organize our community. We say ours is a revolutionary project. We're not out for reform. So we don't even look to the press for anything. Reformers have to depend upon the press. We're revolutionaries. We depend only upon the masses of our people and alone. Our body's very poor body. We get money. You know, trying to get money. We just soften your line a little. You can tangle a little with some people here and there, you know. They give some nice plans and stuff like that. But we know that only us can pay for our revolution. So until our people are giving us the money for the revolution, we can take it from nobody else. And we know our people can finance revolution. We know our people. We know in 1920, as poor as we were, our people throughout this country gave enough money to the army market lobby to buy 3 ships. This is your history, so we know. Look, we ain't worried about our people. Look here. Preachers do good. And they don't get no foundation money. And they get it from the poor of the poor. So we're not good here. The same poor of the poor will come to give their life for the people. When you are revolutionary, you are never pessimistic because your faith is in the masses of your people. And this faith is a scientific faith. And Kroger says, you do not judge a people by the heights they've achieved, but the depths from which they come. And when you see the depths from which we've come, you're a fool to think you will not scale whatever heights are necessary to be reached. They're not pessimistic at all. You know about gang warfare, they shoot about gang. I was in Africa, I speaking Spanish, I really so much more about that. I was in my army ready. Yeah, we met with some of them in Los Angeles just 2 days ago. Well, listen, we understand. Get these guns, bring these guns, we need them. But don't shoot each other, nobody talking to them. I know that. Believe me, I define the people, I know the enemy. I know the internal enemies and the external enemies. I've seen betrayal by these people by a host of scum of our race. I've got a list, and you know, I've got a list. And this list is based on nothing but actions of betrayal, not my thoughts of what I think about them, but they're pure actions of betrayal. You know, no individual African advances in this country based on their own individual talents or women. All of it is a result of the blood of the masses of the people. Even this clown, Carmichael, who now was in the Pentagon, and who was there, he's not there because, as Bush says, he's a soldier, and all that, which he is, because even to get there, he got to be better than the others. But the only reason he got there is as a concession to us because of our blood to put him there, and he's there to deceive us, to send our young brothers to go to Panama and to fight in Panama and kill other Africans in Panama. And he comes and tells us, Bush didn't think of this, I thought of it myself. And all for you. the class line in the African Revolution is drawing tighter and it must. We say no individual in this country, African, arrived at any position because of the individual times of work. All of it is from the love of the people. Maynard John Jackson, I always said Andrew Young because they changed so fast for the same thing. Maynard isn't there because he's intelligent and charming, but because the people shed their blood and that position is a position for them. This is especially tragic for us Africans. You know, we make no advancement in this country without the shedding of our blood, not one. To sit in a filthy 5 and 10 cent store where everybody sits, we have to shed our blood. To sit on a bus where everybody else did, but we pay the same amount of money like everybody else, we have to shed our blood. To get our students into schools where we pay taxes just like everybody else at universities which get tax grants, we must shed our blood. To get the vote just like anybody else gets, just any immigrant who comes here, we must shed our blood. No one sitting in this audience can give me any example where we as a people, even individually, advance through reform in this system without shedding our blood. The logic will impose itself upon the struggle. Since we have to shed our blood to make reform for every little step we take, let us organize ourselves seriously, come shed blood one time, overthrow the capitalist system, and be free. It is logical. Anyway, you have to come and organize your people. In my concluding remarks, I must tell you that you will not let capitalism confuse you. They will everywhere say, oh, you want to hear Kwame Ture, you know, he was young and crazy in the 60s. Now he's older and crazier. It's all right. Problems have extreme conditions must have extreme solutions, and the conditions today are worse than they were in the 60s. So the solutions must be more extreme. They will tell you that when you go here talking to Ray, he's just so radical, he's just so out of it. Everything is extremist, he's an extremist. Everything is hot and cold, everything is wet and dry, everything is black and white. There's no gray area, there's no middle ground. They're confusing you. When you speak of tactics, when you speak of strategy, there's middle ground, there's gray area. But I'm a revolutionary. I speak of freedom, I speak of justice, I speak of democracy. Here, there is no middle ground, I speak of principles. And when one speaks of principles, there is no middle ground. Everything is cut and dry, wet or dry, hot or cold, white or black. There is no gray area. Here's democracy. On a test, you either cheat or you do not. There's no middle ground. There's students. Either you believe in God or you do not. There is no middle ground. And if you stop doubting God, you're going to stop believing in God. As students, if your people are oppressed and you are not doing anything to help liberate your people, by your very act of inactivity, you are against your people. We must not get confused. So for me, in the area of principles, there's no middle ground. If a man or woman is not working for the people, that's my enemy. Correct, without even the slightest hesitation. This person may not consider themselves the enemy as if one, but you go to Kwame, I don't work for the FBI. I don't say nothing bad about people. I think cool, I heard you. I don't say nothing bad about it. I can't say nothing, I shut my mouth. But I'm not trying to get myself together. You are against your people. If your mother is being raped, if you put your hand behind her back for whatever reason and say, I have nothing to do with this, you're against your mother. If your people are being exploited and you're happily living in Dallas and Dynasty, you're against your people. It's as simple as that. But it must become clear to all of us that we have a responsibility. And we must not let capitalism make us irresponsible to our people. Whenever you go to hear our party speak, whenever we end or in the course of our discussion, all of our party militants will tell you the same thing I tell you. In the back table, there are people there join our party, conscious workers. We ask you to come, sign up, join our party. There is a serious party. And we tell you, if you don't join our party, you had better join another organization working for your people. If you don't join our party, you should join the Nation of Islam. If you don't join the Nation of Islam, you should join the... Sorry, let me just go back. Okay, 6 p.m. today? Tomorrow. I'm sorry. Okay, so they'll have to sign in the back, Kevin in the back also. Those are also interested about finding out more about the process of our party. There will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Wednesday. In the Student Center, 301, an orientation concerning our party, so you find out a little bit more about it. I tell you, if you don't come to this orientation, if you don't come to join our party, no problem, we'll come back. But we ain't gonna do but work for our people. We want nothing else. We ain't got time for nothing else but to work for the people. And we gotta tell you, this is the most beautiful job in the world, because the reward is in doing it. So if everybody is going to become responsible, we will continue our responsibility to our people. So we tell you all the time, if you don't join our party, you better join the Nation of Islam. If you don't join our party, you better join the Republic of Africa. If you don't join our party, you better join the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. If you don't join our party, you better join the National Urban League. If you don't join our party, you better join the National Association of National and Other People. And if all these organizations are good for you, you better come just like any other conscious brother and sister, living up to your responsibility and create globalization and liberate our people. The only thing standing between us from liberation is organization. The only thing standing between us and liberation is organization. If you love the people, come, help, organize the people by joining an organization and working for your people. It's the only way we will be free. Thank you very much.
Yes, and we will have questions and answers just in case everybody's not here for that. I would like to go ahead and present, I was about to say, Ms. Kwame Ture with a t-shirt that Georgia Tech has sponsored.
On the surface, projectors. Where's the government?
I think that the questions go, I think the same general area must be divided so we can see what the question in Eastern Europe, this problem is not a problem of Pan-Africanists. There's no Pan-Africanist who doesn't know the name of George Carmichael. And all Pan-Africanists know a little bit about George Carmichael, they just report the history so we can see where the issues. George Carmichael was an African born in Trinidad, did some good organizing in Trinidad, came into America, did some organizing, joined the Congress, Army USA, went to Europe, taking England, did some organizing there. But his organizing skills were such that Carmichael was recognized for these organizations' skills, was put on the contract, was an advisor to Stalin, was given the rank of colonel in the Red Army, and he was given the task of organizing the British movement against British imperialism throughout Africa, Asia, and South and Central America. Thus, Carmichael came to know all these people like Marcy Jones. I was trying to once judge the case of Marcy Jones. He taught at the University of Moscow, which he knew. So he was the one who was giving money to all of these groups fight against British imperialism. When the Germans invaded the Soviet Union, they started calling this platform, and chose the platform. As a platform, you are no longer to organize the racial movements against Britain, Germany, against Britain, France, etc. The only enemy is German fascism. And platform informs Stalin that Germany had no colonies in Africa, only Britain, France, Belgium, Portugal, etc. So Stalin informed as a platform that if it doesn't go with positive discipline and the party, and platform left. So those of us serving the interest of the Soviet Union. As a matter of fact, this was the motivating force in Mr. Padmore's book, Pan-Africanism or Pan-Africanism. Now, let's be clear, Mr. Padmore, like all genuine Pan-Africanists, have never attacked Marxism-Leninism, although we've understood the contradictions. And we've understood, thanks to this, he can help to show us the necessity for Africa to have its own ideology. As we Pan-Africanists have always said that Marxism-Leninism cannot be used as an ideology for us. We can only use it as a strategy to go to socialism. We've understood the necessity of having our own ideology, since every people have their own culture, and your ideology comes from your culture. Thus we have never been the reason why we're not shaken by these events. Kwame Nkrumah, to answer the second part of the question, look at with Nicaragua. Kwame Nkrumah says that the emphasis which Karl Marx plays on the material aspect of the material aspect of life as a determining factor is correct. But, says Nkrumah, I would also like to place great emphasis on the material aspect on ideology. Ideology, he says, is a determining force. First, among some of the errors committed in East Germany was just this. Under socialism in the East, these socialists were not concerned about giving political education to the masses of the people. Indeed, most of them were just concerned with catching up with America, whether it was color TV, dungarees, or pens. So their intent and their bent on catching up with America has led them to catch up with America. There was not enough ideology and illogical education. The problem is also the same, of course, for the Sandinista. The error the Sandinistas made was to allow American imperialism to pull them into their ballpark. Whenever you fight an enemy, you must never fight the enemy on his terrain. You must fight the enemy on your terrain. Allowing them to send $10 million in over the table, not knowing how much money they send in under the table, was it's not, at least if you don't send 10 million, you get 5 million Sandinistas and 5 million. So these issues here, but it doesn't shake us now. We're Africans, we're not chauvinists, but if Africa will be the first unified socialist continent, we will not be dismayed for it, we'll be proud of it. And so none of these countries have the slightest effect upon genuine Pan-Africanists. We are going to strive for socialism, and we are going to present the world the first unified socialist continent, Africa.
Reverend Padmore, didn't he die under two circumstances at the same time as the civil rights were also young died?
What's not said, Birdie died in Ghana.
They all died 1 year after each other. And I believe there was some controversy about how the first, the certificate is worded in reference to those divisions. Do you have any more information pertaining to those?
Not very much. Of course, Milan died in the Walter Reed Hospital. That's quite possible. Richard Ross in Paris, and Padmore in Ghana. So that would be difficult. It's possible, of course, you can never underestimate the enemy. And can't get in past. But I have no facts on this case.
Okay, in reference to when you were speaking earlier, you said that the biggest assistance was, I don't know if this is the correct word you used, but you said in reference to capitalism, the biggest assistance is confusion. And I was wondering if you had any suggestions in reference to meaning and knowledge. For example, in Western culture, all that is considered knowledge is that which can be replicated in another laboratory under the same conditions by another person. And if this is the case, then that means that a lot of things that we know that the people is a knowledge. How do we deal with this consistent inculcation of these beliefs when we have to at least progress to moving toward a unity? For example, I'm saying that as the people in the Western world, we're talking individual, where we talk about these improvements and things. How do we get over that hurdle?
That's a good issue. Of course, it calls for a proper understanding of the people by people and a good examine how people address the relationship with the area around this person. You will find that people have collective action, but no collective thought. This is our biggest problem. I mean, we so instinctively revolutionary and love freedom so much that these instincts sometimes just overwhelm. For example, we can be in Indian city in America, the police shoot all the time. One night, they shoot somebody, and everybody decides at the same time, this is one too much, and we all rise up, burn, shoot, destroy, and then sit down for 30 years. So what it's doing is that while we have collective action, which others do not have, we lack collective thoughts. This is why you find many leftist organizations coming to try and give us ideology based on our action. Our party tries to deal with this problem by one way. Start off, as we said, when we first come into our party, every individual in the work study circuit process is given 5 pages to read. Everybody's reading the same thing. Every 2 weeks, after 7 pages, or reading 5 pages a night, we come and we collectively discuss what we think. This process begins to show us the necessity of collective thought around the problems of our people. So this is one of the ways we strive to collect this. But the general answer to your question is organization and constant political education. Organization and constant political education is the only answer.
Yes, I have two questions. The first one is concerned that white demographics all around the world have recognized and acknowledged the fact that the black race is going to be a possibility, or they fear annihilation over the next 1,000 years. My question is, will the defeat of capitalism address this particular problem? Second, if it does address this problem, how will the socialist society deal with the weapon of war that they have launched against our people?
The first question, this aspect of the power is going to derive, in fact, from capitalism. Racism is not an accident, it's power. If the white man wants to lynch me, that's his problem. If he has the power to lynch me, that's my problem. So this is an issue of power here. Once you speak then of socialism, or you speak of Africanism, we will have our own power to defend ourselves. This is what we lack. The question of the other side of the question that you asked, that is the affair of being left out, certainly is not a fear we have to worry about. Our history shows it's not a difference. Remember, we are the only people in the world who will capture one of our enemies, who will be killing us and torturing us, and when having full power, let them have a seat in the parliament of the country that we are governing. I am speaking here specifically of the issue in Zimbabwe. Ian Smith was the Prime Minister of this country. He killed and tortured many Africans in the war. When we took power, not only did we not kill him, did we not put him in jail, but he still sits in Parliament, and as Parliament committed. If one would look at the history of Africa, its recent history, in its relationship to white racism, it is not an issue made by Africans. We would find Portuguese colonialism 5 centuries, and we came to destroy it in the last decade of the 1970s. And still we ask the Portuguese to stay, not to run away from the countries from which they were colonized most came. This indeed is the history of Africa. So this fear is not a fear that is based in the material reality of the historical reality of Africa. This is a fear that we don't have to worry about. The second question. Africa is the richest continent on the face of the earth. What about the organized will be the most powerful? Thus we do to protect ourselves wherever we are. These struggles that they have with scientific development, they can almost prevent none. And the major powers know this themselves. That's why they're trying to stop all further scientific development of arms. Because the more we advance in science, the easier it becomes, not the more complicated. The easier it becomes. And thus the easier it becomes, the easier it makes it possible for people to have defense systems which these nuclear weapons cannot touch. If you look at something, for example, the Star Wars, which obviously intrigued us, but the concept shows you that, of course, you can always find defensive systems against these offensive systems, which will render their weapons none. The reason why I answer the question this way is that it is not technology that decides the war, but the will of the people. As long as we are determined to live free, we will provide all possible means to defend ourselves and to advance life against all obstacles, including nuclear weapons. As Bob Marley correctly says, have no fear of them. They cannot destroy neither time
you would get on stage at different, one after the other, and you would preach different, I guess you could say, ideology. What does it take for the leaders today to do that? Because today there's so many separate groups, and even then, you all spoke different, ideologies, but yet you stood on the same stage. The people who followed you and people who followed him were still together. What does it take for them to do that now? I mean, they're preaching different, but they won't come together like that.
Well, don't take anything except about people. There's an aspect of people who oppose unity among the organizations. But if we look at our organizations throughout the communities today, we have 80% of the population inside of these organizations. 97% of the masses who are outside. So they have no real effect on these organizations to impose unity among them. Thus, the way to approach the problem is not to be struggling initially that you want now, but by organizing the movement. Once it's really organized, then it was by unity. You probably showed it. This occurred during the time of mass spontaneous uprising by the people. That's what I suppose. But once it becomes permanent that the people organize, they will impose unity on the organizations. Last question? All right.
Are there any medical programs that will aid Africans in America if they want to redevelop in another country, for example, like go back to Africa?
Well, there are a number of them, some of them financed by different institutions, Ture University, there's Crossroads Africa, things like that. But I can't think of an organized force except different organizations which do it. For example, the Islamic fields people back to Africa. Our party does campaigns and certain levels. You can do it individually on your own through the different embassies in Africa by inquiring, depending upon what your special areas of interest are, and seeing which ones are most suitable to your interest, so you can certainly join that. All right, before we end, I want to repeat to you that you must join an organization working with people. I want to repeat to you that you must join an organization working with people. And if you're in an organization working with people, you must increase your efforts in the organization. You must go by example to change the character in our communities. We must become organized people. And the history of people is that once they start doing something and they find success, they follow it like wildfire. So once we begin to organize, it will spread like wildfire. And the history of the African struggle in this country is that it sets the base for all struggle. So once we become organized, then all other segments, other progressive forces in this country will become organized. And then we can speak seriously of coalitions and the dream of seizure of political power by the workers and the masses of the people will become more